Hello, so let's continue our discussion about the French benefit tax. So we stop on this topic, the tax rate. So let us recall lang, no? So for resident citizen, non-resident citizen, overseas workers, resident alien, non-resident alien engaged in trade or business, the French benefit tax rate is 35%, while for non-resident not engaged in trade or business, tax rate is 25%. Again, our formula is this: gross up monetary value multiplied with the FBT rate, that is your French benefit tax. So how do you get the gross up monetary value? The monetary value divided by the GM factor, which is 100% minus the FBT rate. So if the FBT rate is 35%, 100% minus 30%, the GMV is 65%. Because when you compute the French benefit tax, it must be based on the gross up monetary value. And the monetary value, ito yung nare-receive ng mga employees, the supervisory or managerial employees. Okay? Ano? Yung ano ni siya, no? Gross up monetary value is 100% less the FBT. Ito yung monetary value na ma-receive ng mga employees. So, let's go to our illustration. First illustration, Mr. Maharlika, an area manager of Maharlika Gold Company, received the following in addition to his annual salary. He received 220,000 as education assistance of his dependent children, cash of 700,000 for motor vehicle in his own name. Okay? And then, free living quarters and meals with an annual value of 250. Required, compute the French benefit tax if Maharlika is a resident citizen, diba? Recall, resident citizen, 25% yung rate, 35% yung rate natin. Non-resident alien not engaged in business, our rate is 25%. French benefit tax. While an alien, individual employed by an offshore banking unit, pila ganito? 15% from our previous lessons. So let's look on our answers. Compute first the monetary value of French benefit, no? So how do you compute the monetary value? So let us look. Cash for educational, 220. For motor vehicle, 700. And the living quarters meals, 250. So total mo yan. That is your total monetary value of your French benefit. And then after getting the monetary value, you get the gross up monetary value. So meaning you divide it with the the factor, no, gross monetary value factor. Okay? So for resident citizen, our factor is 65%. Okay? Ang ating French benefit tax is 35% man. So 100 minus 35%, that is 65. So our gross up monetary value is 1,800,000 from 1,170,000 divided by 65%. And then you can already compute your French benefit tax by multiplying it with your 35%. Okay? Okay, next. For non-resident alien, not engaged in trade or business. So, take note na, ito yung ating French benefit tax. Non-resident alien not engaged in trade or business, our gross monetary value factor is 75%. Kaya ang ating French benefit tax is 25%. Okay? So, 1,170,000 divided by 75%. So, our gross up monetary value is 1,560,000. Multiply with the French benefit tax, 25%. So, your French benefit tax is 390,000. For an alien employed in an offshore banking units, our gross up monetary value is 1,170,000 divided by 85%. How we get the 85%? 100% minus 15% kasi yung French benefit tax natin. So our gross up monetary value is 1,307,61471. So i-calculate natin ha. From 1,170 divided by 0.85. Okay. And then multiply with our French benefit tax, 15%. So our French benefit tax is 206,471. 206,471. Okay. If we will journalize this one, kung i-journalize natin ito, yung cash out natin, so usually cash out man no? Cash man ang binigay. 220 plus 700 plus 250. Ito yung cash natin. Diri lang ta. So, kung resident, na siya. So, meron tayong French benefit expense. There we have also French benefit tax, which is expense, tax expense. And then, meron tayong cash, monetary. Yung na-cash out natin dito is 1,800,000. Then, ating tax is 630. Ang ating French benefit expense is 1,800,000. Na. Okay. Now, let's go to our second illustration. This is for mga housing units. So, during 2019, AG Company paid a monthly rental of 50,000 for the residential unit used by the Vice President for Finance. Compute for the French benefit tax. Okay, merong rental, 50,000 times 12. Ang owner of the housing unit, si employer. Walang transfer of ownership to the employee. So, kaya annual rental payment, multiply pa ng 50%, no? Ang lease payment. So, your monetary value now is 300,000. And then, divide the gross up monetary value factor, value, 65%. So, your gross up monetary value now is 461,538. And then, before you will multiply with the French benefit tax rate of 35%. So, your French benefit tax is 161,538. So, when you journalize this, ito yung journal entry natin, no? Kasi nag-rental payment, 600,000. So, French benefit expense, 600. And then, our tax is 161,538. Ang out natin na cash is 761,538. Next. Another illustration. Employer has its own residential property and assign it for the use of the employee. So, take note, the owner is the employer. Kung owner is the employer, remember mo, mag-multiply pa ng 50%. Okay? Assign. Kung may assignment, multiply ng 2.5%. So, dapat i-familiarize yung ating how to evaluate, no, the French benefit. So, if the employer leases a residential property for the use of the employee, rental paid times 50%. Pero kung owner ang employer, then i-assign lang, mag-multiply ng 2.5. So, tingnan natin ang ating how to compute it. So, 9 million and 8 million, whichever is higher. So, you use the 9 million market value. And then, after that, kusang ika na, baba natin. Okay. Multiply muna ng, gi-assign man God, multiply muna ng 2.5%. 2.5%, 225,000. Then, before, i-multiply ng 50%. Okay, so your monetary value now is 112,500. Kung i-multiply din nato una ng 50%, times 50, 4.5, before mag-multiply ng 0.025. The same hapon ang result. Pwede unahon ang 50 before si 2.5. Kasi the owner of the property is the employer. So, meaning 50-50. Nag-i-assign, kaya mag-multiply ng 2.5. So, anyway, the same lang ang result. Your monetary value is 112,500. And then, divide with the gross up monetary value factor, 65%. Okay, resident citizen, silent ang problem, no? Ang FBT kasi natin is 35. Okay, so your French benefit tax is 60,577. So, your entry, walang na-out na cash ba? Walang na-out na cash kasi the owner, yalang gikuan. Okay? So, walang cash na out. Ang na-cash na out lang katong binayad na tax. So, French benefit tax expense, 60,577. French benefit tax. Pero walang French benefit expense. No? Only the FBT tax. Okay? Kaya gigamit lang man ang property. Okay. Next illustration. Assume that the acquisition cost of the property was 6 million. And the property has estimated the remaining useful life of 12 years. What is the tax treatment of the acquisition cost? So, recall ang ating market value is 9 and 8, no, whichever is higher. 9 to 9. So, value 8 man. So, we will use the fair market value nga 9. So, the 6 million is lower than the 9 million. So, excess of it, 3 million. I-apportion natin within 12 years. Ano ba yung treatment? Sa acquisition cost. Ano ang treatment sa acquisition cost? Your annual amortization is 250,000. The treatment, iyon ang ating benefit expense, French benefit expense. No? 250,000. But still, our French benefit tax expense is 60,577. The same lang yapon, no? Ang treatment lang sa acquisition cost, ang treatment doon magiging benefit, French benefit expense. Okay? So, I hope nga nakuan, ha? French benefit expense lang yung treatment doon. But in computing your FBT tax, dili siya, wala siya. Doon lang siya sa katong our second illustration. Dili lang. Okay. Next, in the fourth illustration, purchase of property on installment basis for the use of employee. So, installment. So, ano ba ang treatment kung nag-installment tayo? Kung nag-installment, okay, and allows the employees to use the same, diba, mag-multiply tayo ng 2.5%. But mag-base tayo sa acquisition cost. Pero katong you owned already the property, ang i-assign lang nimo sa use of your employee, hanapin natin yung market value and zonal value, whichever is higher, multiply with 2.5%. Tingnan natin if the same ang ating treatment. Okay, the terms of the acquisition were as follows. Down payment, 3 million. Merong annual installment, 1.5 with 10% interest based on remaining balance for 10 years. During the date of acquisition, meron tayong additional cost incurred amounting to 150,000. And the cost of money prevailing in the business community was 10% yung interest. Compute for the French benefit tax for 2019. So, balik. Down payment, 3M. Installment, 1.5 within 10 years. Ang interest is 10%. Ang rate, the same with the current mga interest in the market value. So, down payment na ay 3. Kinuha ang present value of annual installment, which is 1.5 times 6.145. So, basi given na ni siya or you need to compute pa. How would you compute the 6.145? No? The present value of annual installment. So, if you have your katong time value of money, pero say given na ni siya eh. No need for you to compute. So, this is 1.10% raised to the negative 10 power. And this is annuity. Annuity, divided by 0.10. Napa na siya, 1 minus ata. Tingnan natin. Let's look. So, yun, where's my calculator, nakbe? Kasi you need scientific calculator. Look for it. No? Okay, just compute it, class, no? If you will arrive into 6.145. Kung dili gani mo arrive, basig na mali atong calculate, na mali ang computation. Try to 1.10 raised to negative 10 minus 1. Pero wag nga ni gina. I don't have my scientific calculator here. Okay. Okay, so the amount of interest expense on the remaining balance will not form part of the cost of the property. Kindly check lang ni ha, if correct ito. Kung hindi man gani na siya correct, the other way around, katong nga formula nga, nag-minus ako dito, minus 1 na adri ang minus 1. Pero I think kini mo ni siya. So the French benefit tax, tingnan natin na, down payment 3M, present value kini, kasi installment man good. Meron pang additional cost. Ito yung total cost. So actual value of French benefit, kasi installment, multiply mo pa ng 2.5%. Total. And then, the owner. Sinong owner nito? DCG. Multiply ng 50%. Wala may transfer of ownership. This is your monetary value before you will divide it with the gross up monetary value. Confusing dahil siya, no? Kailangan mong familiarize. So, your gross up monetary value is 237,837. And then, multiply with French benefit tax rate, 35%. So, your French benefit tax is 83,243. So, this is your French benefit tax expense, 83,243, and nag-out ka ng cash, 83,243. Take note, there is no transfer of ownership. Installment siya, there is no transfer of ownership, kaya nag-multiply pa ta ng 50%. Another illustration. Purchase of residential property transfers ownership to the employee. Transfer. 6 million ang purchase. I-transfer down. The date of purchase, ang market value is 9. Zonal value is 8. So, kung there is transfer, market value or zonal value, whichever is higher. We use the 9 million. There is transfer of ownership, so 100% na siya. Before you will divide it with the gross up monetary value. Okay? And then multiply ulit ng French benefit tax rate. So this is your French benefit tax. 4 million, malaki. 4,846,154. Entry. Ito yung entry natin. Meron tayong French benefit expense. The part of the company which is equivalent to acquisition price, 6 million. While our French benefit tax expense is 4,846. So, ito yung cash out natin. Okay? I hope may nakita na yung trend or the rules. Kung there is transfer of ownership, 100%. But if the employer is still the owner, hindi walang transfer of ownership to the employee, times 50%. Okay. That's for mga residential, no? Nga mga tirahan ng mga manager or mga supervisor. Now, let's go to motor vehicle illustration. So, first illustration, cash purchase of a motor vehicle in the name of the employee. So, sa employee na. BJ Company purchased a motor vehicle for 800,000 for the use of its operation manager. Merong additional cost incurred, 45,000. Market value is 950. Compute the French benefit tax. So, tingnan natin. Let's look. Acquisition cost plus additional related cost. This is our actual value. Multiply with 100%. Eh, ma'am, how about the kining market value? Saan man ni siya? Go back to the rule. Ano ba ang yung rule natin for the motor vehicle? Sa motor vehicle, wala na yung mga kasali yung mga market value. Again, this is personal property, manggod, no? Unlike yung real property, like the land, the building, may market value kasi, may mga, especially the land, nag-appreciate manggod siya, no? So, you would use the fair market value and or the zonal value, whichever is higher. But this is a real property. This is a personal property. So, when we say personal property, you can move the property, movable. So, magbe-base tayo sa acquisition cost and additional cost. This is the actual value. There is transfer of ownership to the employee. So, 100% of it. And then, the same, you get first the gross up monetary value before you will multiply it with the FBT rate. So, your French benefit tax is 455,000. So, yung entry natin dito, meron tayong French benefit expense, katong ihatag na to sa employee, sa manager, 845,000. Of course, binagbayad din tayo sa BIR. French benefit tax expense, 455,000 from our computation. Next, illustration. Cash is given to the employee for the purchase of the motor vehicle, and the ownership is in the name of the employee. So, there's transfer of ownership. Naghatag og 900,000 to the marketing for the purchase of motor vehicle. The title will be given to the name of the employee, manager. Okay? The manager, however, purchased a motor vehicle at a cost of 750. Ginamit yung excess for the repair of the residential lot. Compute the French benefit tax. Kasi cash ang given, so kana lang, 900. Kaya ginamit man gyapon for residential lot. So, your monetary value is 900,000. Divide the gross up monetary value. So, if makikita natin, whatever na-receive ng employee, muna na, net na siya dapat of the French benefit tax. Kasi mag-shoulder naman ng French benefit tax is the employer naman. On the part of the employer, you compute the French benefit tax. So, kaya mag-divide ng gross monetary value factor to get the French benefit tax. There's a note here. Although the employee utilized only a portion of the cash he will receive for the purchase of motor vehicle, the whole amount of cash received, however, will serve as the basis for the computation of the monetary value. Kasi yun ang kanyang na-receive. Okay? So, entry natin, French benefit expense, 900. Tax natin is 484,615. And cash na out, 1,384,615. No? Yung cash na binigay sa employee, which is 900, and at yung binayad sa BIR. Next illustration. Purchase of motor vehicle installment na ito, on installment basis. Transfer of its ownership is to the employee, but there is transfer of ownership. Installment, The motor vehicle was purchased on installment basis under the following terms. Down payment for 50,000, 5 equal installment to 50, 10%. The cash price of the vehicle was 900,000. Okay, the ownership of the vehicle was transferred to the name of the employee. Merong additional cost na 35,000. Compute for the French benefit. Acquisition cost tayo magbe-base, di ba? Cash price, 900. Additional cost, 35. So, this is the actual of value of your French benefit. Pero installment man, under the rule, balik na po sa ating rule, sa motor vehicle, kung installment, mag-divide tayo ng 5 years. Okay? Kaya nag-divide tayo ng 5. This is your monetary value. Kasi for yearly kasi yung ating ding computation, no? For the French benefit expense. Ay, sorry. Yeah. Ideally, at the moment nga naka-receive. Pero that's the rule talaga, no? Kasi installment man. Divide ng 5. Okay. Your monetary value now is 187,000. Divide by the gross up monetary value rate, 65%. So, your gross up monetary value is 287,692 multiply with your French benefit tax, 35%. So, yung tax natin is 100,692. So, let's have the note. In the absence of the fair market value of the motor vehicle, the French benefit expense is equal to the total amount paid, which is the sum of down payment and all installment basis. So, entry natin, ito yung French benefit tax natin, no? 169.2. French benefit expense, yung how do we get this French benefit expense? Kasi merong down payment, merong annual installment, merong additional cost. Ito yung French benefit expense natin. Okay? And then, ang cash out natin, ito, 588,592. Next, let's have another illustration. Ilang illustration ito? 10? Okay. Purchase of motor vehicle where the employer shoulder parts of the cost of the vehicle. So, may shoulder si employer, part lang. So, may contribution si employer. May contribution din si employee. And there's transfer of ownership. Okay, a brand new luxury car, 1,800,000, Vice President for Finance. Okay. The company shoulder, 1,300,000, and the employee would pay the balance. The vehicle was placed in the name of the employee. Compute the French benefit tax. So, yung shoulder ng employer, 1,300,000, multiply with 100%. Kasi there is transfer of ownership. Okay? Kung dili na transfer of ownership, ang 50%, no? But there is transfer of ownership. And then divide it with the gross up monetary value, 65%. Okay? Your French benefit tax is 700,000. Okay? Kaya nag-shoulder man. Next illustration, number 10. The employer owns a fleet of motor vehicles for the use of the business and the employees. So, this time, ang employer ang nagmamay-ari. Purchase a dozen of motor vehicle. The cost of each motor vehicle is 750. Mahal, no? Motor pag yun. Compute for the French benefit tax. So, acquisition, 750. Bakit i-divide ng 5? Okay, let's go again to the rule. Kung installment, mag-divide ng 5. Okay? Kung mag-maintain po si employer, no? Divide hapon ng 5. Kung installment, mag-divide ng 5. Kung employer owns and maintains the fleet of vehicle, the use for employees, divide hapon ng 5. So, buha. Ay, divide ng 5. And then, ang nagmamay-ari kasi is the employer. Hey. Okay. So, you multiply it with 50%. Unless kung nagmamay-ari si yung manager, no? 100%. Pero nagmamay-ari is the employer. So, multiply with 50%. This is your monetary value. Then, divide with the gross up monetary value factor. Then, multiply with the FBT rate. So, this is your French benefit tax. So, what is our entry here? Ito yung ating entry. Okay? Meron pang isang illustration. I really thought tama na hanggang 11. Hanggang 10. Pila din kaya number 12. Okay, let's go to 11. Employer leases and maintains a fleet of motor vehicle for the use of the business and the employee. So, lease the luxury van to be used for the transport of the supervisor. Rental payment is 750. Ang nagmay-mari si employer kaya nag-multiply ng 50%. Divide with the gross of monetary value. So, our French benefit tax here is okay. 201,923. So, ito yung ating journal entry. French benefit expense, 750,000. Our French benefit tax is 201,923. So, yun yung cash out natin. Next. The last illustration. If nagpahiram si employer, pa-loan ng money to the employees, the rate of the interest is less than the market rate. So, PJ Company extended a 4 million loan to its production manager, 4% interest payable after 1 year. Compute the French benefit tax. So, let's look on the benchmark interest. So, usually 12%. And then, 4% ang i-charge lang. So, balance 8%. So, i-multiply natin, compute the interest rate katong excess. No? 8% of 4,320,000. And then, divide again, kasi ito kasi yung, divide again with the gross up monetary value factor. Divide 65%. Then, multiply with 35%. This is your French benefit tax, 172,308. So, this is our entry. Okay, medyo libog, no? Just follow the rules, no? Follow the rules, yung nandun sa taas. I will go back to the rules. Kini, no? Ano ba yung mga valuation natin? Kasi, in general, kung money, ang valuation is the amount of the money. Muna ang general rule. If non-cash property and ownership is transferred, fair market value, zonal value, whichever is higher. Non-cash property and ownership is not transferred, depreciation value. But there are exceptions. Muna ang general rule, but there are exceptions. Ang exemptions lang housing, motor vehicle, and interest. No? So, exemptions natin, kung housing, kung nagpalis tayo for the use of the employee, ang rental value times 50%. Kung you purchase a property and transfer yung ownership sa employee, whichever is higher to the zonal value, fair market value, or the acquisition cost. If you own a residential property and you assign the use of the property, 2.5% of fair market value and the zonal value. Pero based on our illustration, we multiply pa ng another 50% based sa general rule. If the employer purchases a residential property, transfer the ownership to its employee, price less than the acquisition cost, i-minus yung cost of the employee. Okay? And then, kung ang employer nag-purchase ng residential property, installment basis, nag-times ng 2.5%. Okay, so remember that one, ha? Kailan nag-times ng 2.5 kini? Kung installment and then assignment. Okay? And then for motor vehicle also, okay, tanawan ng motor vehicle and also the interest and also our tax rate. So, I hope you will recompute again our illustrations, no? We have several illustrations here. Just use another numbers, no? We compute again it. Compute how much is the French benefit tax how much is the French benefit expense. Okay, kana lang, no? So, the next would be, the next topic natin, ano ba? The next topic would be here, the tax administration remedy.